Good morning, everybody, and happy Mother's Day 2020. 2020. 2020. I don't know if I said that right. I hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. We've had a bit of a lightening of the restrictions. They opened the beach up for a few hours in the morning, but overall, it's still kind of interesting times. So what I wanted to do is this particular week, we have a lot of planets going retrograde. Good morning, Juan. Great to see you. We have Saturn going retrograde tomorrow until the end of September. We have Jupiter on the 14th going retrograde until mid-September. And then we have Venus on the 13th going retrograde until almost the end of June. So when I was looking at that, it occurred to me that Saturn is the karma, represents karma, and Jupiter is the teacher, and Venus represents our money. I mean, there's other hues to those planets. There's other dynamics to them, but that's what hit me this week. And I think that's what Spirit wants to address with everybody. Good morning, Jules. Good morning, Jerry Davis. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, CC Pops. Good morning, bomb.com. So we have a lot. So this is how I was processing this. I was thinking about how, I can go back to the Saturn and Pluto conjunction that we were approaching for the last 2 years. And then here we have this complete restructuring of our lives. And so is this a karmic thing in some ways? Saturn asking us to really review and look at, are we treating our lives and ourselves the way we want to? And what do we have to learn about our value and our money? So good morning, Wise. Good morning, Tebow. Good morning, Victor. Good morning, Free Humanity. Good morning, Jess. Yes, exactly, Crystal. That's what I was saying. Jupiter being the teacher. So, and then we have the nodes that changed recently. We had the South Node go into Sagittarius and the North Node go into Gemini. Gemini teaching, learning, our everyday activities. So I really kind of was thinking that over the next few months, obviously maybe through the rest of this year, we are going to be learning more deeply about ourselves and what our wants and desires are and what we're capable of creating. So that's where I'm kind of going with that. Good morning, Carly. Good morning, Cosmo Kid. Good morning, Kathy Davis. Good morning, the Sensory Compounding Workbook. I got that all out. I said hi to Shelly, I think. Hi, Shelly. Okay, so all right, so here we go. I'm just going to jump into our readings and start with Pisces. And again, as per usual, in honor of all the retrogrades, go backwards. Okay, so let's start with Pisces and see what Spirit has to say for Pisces during this time of restructuring. All right. Now, this is for those of you that have not been on my show, because I've seen some new names in the chat this morning. Good morning, Yumam. Yunam. I think I'm saying that right. I use 2 different decks. One is Doreen Virtue's Angels with your messages from your angels, and the other is the Legend of Avalon. That's what it is. I threw the book out a long time ago, so I can't quite remember. So I put these two decks together, and what we're doing is we're focusing in on the angelic advice reversing these transits. How do we deal with it? How do we walk through this and stay at a high vibration? So it's using the aspects of astrology, and then getting, because I think of astrology as the weather. It's the psychological and the weather that we're walking through. So that's where I'm going. Good morning, Marta. Good morning, Michelle. Okay, I'm really starting now with Pisces. I know this is my biggest flaws. I say I'm starting and then I start talking about something else. Okay. All right. Our first angel for Pisces, rising sun, moon, and ascendant. Rising sun, moon, and ascendant. Sorry. Rising sun, moon, and stelliums. We have Archangel Gabriel, Oceana. We have Maya, and we have Daniel. Okay. All right, Shelley. That's a lot of energy in Pisces. Very intuitive. Okay. It's a little cool here today. Things feel a little damp. Good morning, Jess. Good to see you. Good morning, Elfie. Okay. Joining Archangel Gabriel is the birth and the rebirth card. Joining Oceana is the dragon. Joining Maya is the trust card. And joining Daniel is the wind fairy. Okay. So we have Archangel Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel literally on this card talks about having a divine life's purpose in arts and the communications, and to turn over any insecurities you may have to her so that she can help anchor your confidence in yourself. And then we have the birth and the rebirth card. I want to say this. When I looked at this morning or just now, I felt like I saw communications. I saw the arts as being Venus. I saw Gemini, everyday activities, and a rebirthing of our everyday activities. And, I want to put it this way, because I believe that there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Having the North Node in Gemini, I felt like when I was listening to people talk about it, that there's a lot of people that are going to be developing new technologies that will then be birthed in a big way when Uranus goes into Gemini in a few years. Pardon me. So, excuse me. So what I'm going with Pisces is I think that in some ways I could say, oh, this is a rebirth of your communication to yourself. I don't know if I think of it that way. I think what I'm seeing is a rebirth of your everyday activities and really digging deep with the direction that you want to go in that. So let's say that you have been working at a job and you've had a passion on the side. Let's say you have an Etsy store. And during this time of retrograde, this time of reconstruction, you're feeling nervous because you don't know, will my Etsy store really do well? Or, is this job, I really believe this is about considering things from evaluating if you're doing the things you love and then putting some oomph into those things that you love. Because in the opportunity, oh my goodness. All right. So I didn't realize that Grace and Antoinette was sitting behind Oceana and there's the dragon. So let's go here. Opportunity and or obstacle. Oceana says to take action that you're in touch with your truth and to lovingly move forward. And yet we can't really move forward right now. So this is about compassion, having compassion for self, and then there's the power and the strength. So this is my opportunity and or my obstacle. My opportunity is to have compassion as I rebirth the way I think about my everyday activities and the things that I want to bring into the world. And I want to say it this way because we are probably all experiencing similar things, feeling vulnerable in our financial bodies, in our futures. There's just so much restructuring going on. So what I'm trying to say is that we have a lot to learn, and this is not about trusting just ourselves, but in trusting this time of restructuring. And I want to put it this way. I don't think Oceana is talking about jumping up and trying to open an Etsy store as much as maybe it's about researching it. It's about finding out what the opportunities are. What are the challenges? What are the possibilities of collaboration potentially? Because, and I say that for Pisces, because we have Daniel, the angel of marriage, and we have the wind fairy here. And this is in direct connection because the first and the fourth position for me are more in the material world. So here we have the rebirth of the way that we're communicating to ourselves and the way we do our everyday activities. And here is Daniel, the angel of marriage, partnership, And here's the wind fairy, which is about thoughts and analysis. So this is very, very much third house activities to me, very much Gemini activities. So when I think about Gemini, there's the teacher, there is the writing, reading, speaking, all these different dynamics. There are the teammates, workmates, the whole idea of working in groups in our neighborhoods, this kind of everyday activity. So to round it up, I believe that God and the angels are asking you to connect with them in a deeper way of restructuring your life in a way that not always is in the how of it. How will this happen? How will I get there? I don't think that's the step right now, especially with all these retrogrades. It's about reflection. It's about reevaluation. It's about restructuring. And we start with our mind. And then whatever insecurities that you potentially may have about these things, you start to work with Archangel Gabriel and you ask her to give you experiences that will support where you want to go. And in that respect, you become, and this is where Daniel, the angel of marriage, becomes a partnership card with your mind. And in some ways, I'm looking at that wind fairy and getting that real Gemini feeling. Pisces may be very well served in looking for partnerships to move forward. So let's use this idea of an Etsy store. Maybe you get into a collaboration, and there's a few of you that are working the store together. So you each have products of your own, but in one place. I don't know why I'm saying it that way. I'm just using that as an example because I think of Etsy as entrepreneurship. So, okay. All right. Let's go on to our Aquariuses. Yeah, Thibaut, I agree. It's been a really strange week. I'm just kind of getting used to being strange weeks. My neighbor, just a few buildings over, properties over, she has quite a nice deck, and there's literally like 6 people sitting on it, and they're all sitting 6 feet away from each other, which I think is so weird. Anyway, okay. Okay. Hi, Nikki. Welcome. Nikki, you might want to think about inflammation, things that you may be ingesting that contribute to the pressure in your eyes. And I know that you're saying it's from a brain condition, but everything's connected to everything else. Okay. So sometimes when we're mindful of what we're eating that contributes to the inflammation, it'll help other parts of our body as well. Okay. Hi, Linda. Yeah, it's weird to sit away from each other, to go to someone's personal home and then sit. I don't even get it. Anyway, it's a time of extremes. It's a time of real extremes. And in doing so, giving us an opportunity to observe our own processes. Okay, here we go. Let me just do a quick shuffle here with the angel deck. Hi, Tammy. Welcome. All right, Aquarius, here we go. I have my Chiron in Aquarius as well. I think that's a generational thing. Okay, here we go. Our first angel for Aquarius, rising, sun, moon, and stelliums is Crystal. Then we have Maya. Then we have Archangel Raphael, and we have Daniel again. Wow, okay. It's interesting because as I look at that, and I go back to Archangel Gabriel from the previous for Pisces, we're all going to feel a sense of insecurity right now. There's so much that's transforming, and everything that we've looked at that was normal is being rewritten. Very similar to what happened during 9/11. I've talked about this before. Before 9/11. The security at the airports was very different. We didn't have so many checkpoints and so many things to do. So we're going through that same dynamic here where we're readjusting and in doing so, That's why I'm saying this for both Pisces and Aquarius as I look at this already. I really believe that this is about stretching beyond what you can see and going into the place of where you want to be, and then giving spirit an opportunity to show you and lay steps that may be very small steps, because they may be more conceptual in the very beginning. So Crystal's being joined by the Trust card. Maya's being joined by the Bee. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the Protection card. And Daniel's being joined by the Strength card. Interesting, very similar cards that we got for these two signs. So Crystal says, have faith and hope because there's more on the horizon that you can't see. And then there's the Trust card. And I want to put it this way, because there is more. There is always a wisdom to our challenges. We may not see them initially, but in hindsight, we can sometimes garnish that wisdom more easily. And I feel like for Aquarius right now, this having faith and hope because there's more on the horizon is really, it's a bigger picture of things. We mentioned earlier that we've got so many planets retrograde. So we have Saturn is retrograde right now. And I'm just going to focus in on the karmic dynamic of Saturn, okay? Then we have Jupiter, the teacher. Okay, so what does Saturn have to teach us? And now I'm going to Venus about money. And money is about, to me, it's not about dollars and cents. It's about self-esteem. People who are brave in their choices to, okay, let me back this up a little bit, because where I want to go with this is I feel like any entrepreneur does not know what's going to happen. They're not going to be guaranteed a paycheck every 2 weeks because someone's paying them. So there is a certain amount of trust in oneself to have faith and hope, because this is about a being energy, okay? So here, the bee represents luck. It represents sweet victory, and it represents industriousness. And then Maya represents schooling and education. For Aquarius, this may be, I want to say it this way. There could be a certain element of learning new skills, yes, because here we have dynamics that are supporting learning new things, but it's also your being energy. And that being energy is connected to Archangel Raphael and to the Protection card. Archangel Raphael talks about physical healing. And I want to say it this way, because we're going through a physical experience. So I don't think this is about ill health. I think this is more about, as you give life to educating yourself towards the things that you want, you will be protected. So let's use the example of astrology. Let's say you've always wanted to be an astrology teacher, and maybe it's time to hone your skills, or maybe it's time to look at a different school of thought. So you've been a Western astrologer, you might try Vedic. I feel like that's part of it, because here we have Daniel, the angel of marriage, and we have the power and strength card. And I don't know if I think this is about straight up partnerships. It feels like Daniel will represent bringing in a history in marriage, a history, a romantic history. And what is your history? Does it support you or doesn't it? So I'm kind of going there, where I'm not thinking of it as physical marriage as much as it's a marriage, finding your strength, finding your strength and trust in an intention, because you're learning about your being energy and you're connecting that to spirit. That's what I want to say for Aquarius. Okay. All right. Let's go on to Capricorn, where lots of activity going on for Capricorn. Talk about, and I want to say this too, as I'm shuffling the cards, because I believe that the natal chart is our contract, our intention for this lifetime. What do we want to work on for ourselves? What do we want to, what's our legacy that we want to leave? What are our challenges? What are our opportunities? What are our strengths? It's all in the natal chart. So I say that because each one of us that's breathing on the planet right now, on some level, agreed to walk through this time in history, to rewrite our lives, to restructure things, to be part of this global movement of restructuring how we operate as humans. So for me, if I think of it that way, it's easier not to resist it, to look for a wisdom, a deeper wisdom. And I got to say, I've been quite emotional. I mean, I'm a kind of solitary person, and at the same time, this has had a really profound effect on me because of it. It's like just even walking up and down the street is weird. This party over here where people are sitting and they're sitting so far apart. It's a weird time. So I think I'm saying this is because all of us have agreed to be here at this time. And rather than feel like we're jellyfish in the ocean, I think it's time to float on our backs and to sort of try to look up, meaning not to the sky per se, but what's the bigger purpose of my soul living through this time? Okay, now on to Capricorn. For those of you that are doing timestamps, I appreciate you. Okay, Capricorn, rising, sun, moon, and stelliums. I have such a strange contract with my familia. It's not even funny. Okay. Our first angel is Aurora. The second is Bridget. The third is Isabella. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. Wow. So here, as I'm pulling the cards, I'm thinking about the karmic dynamic of Saturn. I'm not thinking of the restriction. I'm not thinking of the going by the rules or government. I'm really thinking about does Saturn retrograde asking me to do, Capricorn, in my reevaluation of my life? Cosmo Kid, I'm sorry to hear that. Sending good vibes to you. Hi, Debbie. I think I said hi to you earlier. I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't see you. Okay, here we go. Hi, Darcy. Aurora is being joined by the Lady of the Lake for Capricorn. Bridget's being joined by the Risk card. Isabella's being joined by the Fire Fairy. And Archangel Gabriel's being joined by the Horse. Okay. So it's interesting because Aurora says you're flying high right now. Don't descend, that you will soon inspire others by your example. And then I have the Lady of the Lake. I feel like this is the karmic aspect of Saturn. This is where, when you look at Aurora's energy, she's asking you to reach up for the things that you want. And the Lady of the Lake is asking you to have the courage to your deepest truth. And sometimes that's a slowing down so that I can really evaluate, am I basing my decisions, am I basing my thought process on what I really want or what I think I can attain? Because I think if you're doing it on what you think you can attain, it's time to look deeper into this situation because you're really basing your decisions on fear. And it's time to risk a bigger thought, because Isabella is confirming that for Capricorn, saying, yes, the timing is right to be optimistic and to be creative. And I want to really round this, or to define creativity in this sense, because it's not about painting. It's not about creating music or art. It's about being creative in your thought process. It's about being creative in moving in a new direction with your thoughts. Here's Archangel Gabriel and the Horse. And today the Horse is definitely going in a new direction. Maybe for my Capricorn rising, sun, moon, and stelliums, maybe you pivot. Maybe you've been doing a job for years that you don't enjoy. That job is disrupted right now in one way or another. And you've been giving an opportunity to really review. Jupiter is the teacher. That's how I'm kind of picking hues of these planets right now, because I think Jupiter wants to teach us about our karmic contract with Saturn, and Venus is asking us about our self-worth, hence making money. So for Capricorn, allowing yourself to start to really ask the deeper question. Am I basing this on what I want, the real vision of what I want for myself, or what I think I can attain? And then if I'm thinking, then I have to play a game with myself, because if I'm making my decisions based on what I think I can do, That's time to turn over your insecurities to Archangel Gabriel and to start to move in a different direction again in your thoughts. And I want to offer it this way because, you know, all these planets retrograde, and Pluto's in there too. I believe Pluto's already gone retrograde. This is really a time of reflection. And we talk about the reflection with Mercury retrogrades all the time, but guys, this is the deeper stuff. This is, you know, Pluto rules what's underneath. And so if we look at it and we're going through with all these planets retrograde and then the changing of the nodes, right? So as a result of that, what do we really want for our lives? And what are we willing to do to actually make it happen? And part of that is risking a bigger idea and then taking methodical steps to get there, to allow yourself to be taught in some respects. Think about the teacher going backwards. So maybe there's something for Capricorn, in addition to having the courage to move towards what you want, also having the courage to be a student in some ways. Okay, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Okay, here we go. Welcome, Daniel, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. If you didn't hear me at the top of the broadcast, it is Mother's Day here in the United States. So if you're not from the United States, well, happy Mom's Day to you anyway. All right, Darcy, thank you for going for it. I love that. All right. Okay, here we go. Our first angel for Sagittarius is Archangel Michael. The second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Aurora. And the final is Bridget. It just kills me how this happens every week, how we get this kind of theme. I think that's very interesting, Shelley. I always think of the inner planets as being more ruling everyday activities and the outer planets being more psychological, what we don't see. You know, that commercial where the people are saying, oh, I smile, but I'm really depressed. All right, Sagittarius. Joining Archangel Michael is the disruption card. Joining Archangel Uriel is the Lady of the Lake. Joining Aurora is the High Priestess, and joining Bridget is the Wealth card. Archangel Michael says, asks you to have courage to move towards your divine life's purpose. And then we have the disruption card. I really feel like this may be, again, here we're talking about reevaluation. And I want to offer it this way because I'm seeing Jupiter as going in a new direction. I'm seeing this as Jupiter rules travel. Jupiter rules foreign ideas. And then there's the teacher energy. So for my Sagittariuses, when I see this disruption card with Archangel Michael, I feel like it's a couple things, because I also have Archangel Uriel, which deals with frustration, anger, and unforgiveness. I feel like there's the potential that my Sagittariuses have been disappointed in some ways. And I want to say, I don't know if it's in our politics, if it's in world events, it's in your own world. But there's some sort of disappointment. And I feel like Archangel Michael, his hand is just, for some reason, I know it's not a peace sign, but I almost feel like he's asking Sagittarius to look at what percentage of this disruption really matters to you, because this is another card of courage, having courage to go into a different direction. And this is a thought. When I say a different direction, it's about giving life to new thoughts and new ideas, because this is Archangel Uriel representing unforgiveness and frustration. When I look at this, it's almost like I feel like Sagittarius, it's time, again, here we are. We're restructuring our lives. We're reevaluating things. We're looking at, am I living my best life, or am I living some version of my life that is just paying the bills and getting me to the weekend. And because that's where I feel like this is more about frustration, Archangel Uriel. And I really feel like Archangel Michael and Lady of the Lake are saying, be courageous throughout this disruption, to look deeper, more intensely at what it is that you really want, because here's the angels' advice. And there's Aurora saying you're flying high right now. I think this is where you want to go. I don't think this is actually happening, but I think this is about being brave. Yes, Danielle, by being brave while we're transiting our lives into a higher version of ourselves. And I want to kind of put it this way, because there we have Bridget here saying to look deeper, and the wealth card. And this is where I kind of was going with Sagittarius. Have you been pursuing endeavors that make you feel safe and secure in the material world? And then now I feel like it's a time to take over this week and these next few months, because this week, all these planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus, are all going to go retrograde within a few days of one another. Saturn on the 11th, Venus on the 13th, and Jupiter on the 14th. So this could feel a little bit like, I feel like the energy could feel very strong, and it could be very scary. And so I feel like there's a part of me that has to keep asking myself the deeper questions. What do I know about myself, Sagittarius? What do I know about what I'm capable of? What do I know deep in here? Because that's where the next step will be. That's where you'll take your that's the foundation with which you will take your next step. So disrupting the thought of how, like, if you're worried about paying the bills, it's really hard to dream. So again, I feel like Spirit is asking you to be courageous beyond what you can see, again, because this disruption is creating frustration, which is muting your ability to see what you want to experience. And this is, again, where I want to look and see if I've been taking my actions based on something that really is not serving my long-term happiness. Okay, going on to Scorpio. During this time of reconstruction, I've been asking myself the deeper questions, because I work for myself, and literally when this thing hit, my numbers on Yelp went from here, and they plummeted like this, and they haven't come back up. I mean, it's really sketchy. Now, when I look at that, it kind of triggers fear. So I started to pay attention to what I was doing that was triggering fear. If I look at certain numbers right now, do they reflect the truth, or do they reflect the dynamic? So again, Darcy, we've got to kind of be in a big picture and be willing to take small steps within that big picture. Okay, Scorpio, here we go. Cosmo Kid, I have Jupiter and Sagittarius in my natal chart as well. Okay. Scorpio, here we go. Our first angel is Astera. The second is Francesca. The third is Aurora. Aurora, has she come out every single time so far, or what? And there's Grace and Antoinette. All right, Astera is being joined by the Stag. Francesca is being joined by the Partnership card. Aurora is being joined by the Protection card. And Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Truth card. Okay. When I look at this spread, the first thing I think of is we are a tribe. right now we're a tribe of 82 people, 81, someone just left the room. But I feel like in this particular, on this day, every week we stand together or sit or lay down and we purport a certain energy. And I feel like we're part of the balancing act. So here, when Astera says to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires, and not to compromise, and then we have the Stag card, I feel like this is about standing in leadership during a challenging time. I feel like that's why I mentioned the balancing act, because as we stand in our light, as we don't allow ourselves to be succumbed by fear, that we then stand in leadership, not just for ourselves, but for others. And I'm going to go to the fourth position because Scorpio, this is Grace and Antoinette is asking us to have compassion, and there's the truth card. So what we may see in many ways is truths coming up. There are, Scorpio rules hidden things. So over these next few months, through all the way through, early 2021 with these retrogrades and the other dynamics, because once they go forward again, we hit all those points. So it's like boom, 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 boom. So I feel like standing in leadership, keeping yourselves in your lane in some respects, because in the opportunity, the obstacle is Francesca. She says, what do you visualize right now? And there's the partnership card. And I don't think this is about partnership with another person. I think this is a little bit about Scorpio holding the line, holding their vibration during this challenging time and being a leader for others in some respects. So here we have, in the Angel's Advice, we have Aurora saying not to descend. You will soon inspire others. And there's the protection card. In direct relation to the partnership with your own vision. So for Scorpio, during this time when you're looking at, I want to put it this way. So Jupiter retrograde is going to reflect that teacher energy to me. What do you want to know? What are you learning about yourself? What have you karmically agreed to learn about yourself and your sense of self-worth? And what if that is that you are a leader and that it is perfectly authentic of you to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires, and having compassion for yourself as you stand in your own truth, as the world's truths bubble up underneath it all. Because we're not just dealing with ourselves anymore. We're really, a few months ago, we were living our own little lives, kind of running around like this. And now, whether we realize it or not, you see another human coming. And some people are like doing a wide berth around that, and that's sending a ripple effect, whether you feel directly impacted by this situation or not. So that's kind of where I'm going. So overall for Scorpio, stand as a leader by continuing to reach for the stars with what you want. And this is a connection to spirit, and have compassion for yourself as you come in partnership and you feel yourself sway in and out of this energy. I don't know that I don't feel like it's just a road where you're just plugging ahead. You may be zigzagging. And that's why spirit wants you to know, when you stay in your lane and you allow yourself to stay inspired, then you will be protected. And about having compassion for yourself as your truth comes to the surface and you start to live it. You start to live it. All right, let's go into Libra. And I want to say this again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but if indeed our natal charts, our syllabus, our contract, our agreement with what we're going to experience, some of the landscape of what we'll experience. We all agreed to experience 2020. And in doing so, we all agreed on some level to go through this karmic dynamic. And those of us that have been standing, I believe, in our truth will excel even more. Okay, here we go. Libra, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Our first angel is Yvonne. The second is Mystique. The third is Oceana. And the final is Rochelle. Well, being a Libra sun, this is perfect for me. It's my very struggle. Oh, High Priestess 13. If you have a stellium in Libra, definitely pay attention. And if it's in the 6th house, I don't care what sign it is, it's somehow going to represent something you're either enslaved to, you work at, your health, or pets. 6th house is rules pets as well. Now you tell me you're a vet and I'll just jump up and down. Okay. Yvonne is being joined by the king. Mystique is being joined by the horse. That's Saturn and Jupiter. The dragon is coming out with Oceana. And the love card is coming out with Rochelle. Wow. Okay, Libra. So the king to me is a karmic card. And it's about justice. It's about balance. It's about male energy. And Yvonne will talk about animals on the face of the card, but I think this is about vulnerability. To me, I had no animals I only had cats for many years, no children. So my pets became my kids. And whenever I was feeling stressed out, I would dream about them being lost or not being able to find them. So this became a card of vulnerability. And now I want to say I want to say this for Libra. I feel like this is being vulnerable to the justice in your own life, to your own real wants and desires, because I'm going to go to the 4th position. Here's the love card coupled with Rochelle that says, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you. But to me, this is harmonious wealth. This is where I feel like I'm thriving and I'm in my lane. And even though there are obstacles on that path, there's still the obstacles that I want to address. They're things that I love. So here it is. It's karma for you to be vulnerable right now. And I want to put it this way. If indeed you want to fall in love, Libra, you are the sign of partnerships. This is on the table, but it's time to be vulnerable to it in a bigger way and to own it within yourself. It's not about carrying a big sign out saying, I want to be in love or I want this, blah, blah. It's being vulnerable to, if I can dream it, can I really live it? That's what I ask myself all the time as a Libra sun going through this dynamic right now. Do I need to worry and go a different direction in order for me to feel, safe materially? And then my heart chakra would suffer through that. And then my physical body would suffer. So what does Mystique say? To keep charging ahead and expect miraculous solutions. And look at the horse. These are 2 horses. Could this be more Jupiterian? What do I have to learn from continuing ahead, from putting myself forward in spite of what I can see? And then in the angel's advice, we have Oceana saying to take action. You're in touch with your truth. And that being in touch with your truth is where your power lies. It's what will give you the tenacity to continue on. Even though you can't see where, because Mystique is coming out of the dark and into the light. And I really do believe that this horse in many ways, you can't see it very clearly, but there's a purple hue to its heels or its hooves, I'm sorry. And as a result of that, I feel like that's following my intuitive path. And to keep charging ahead towards what it is that I love, that I want for me. So I feel like this is super poignant for me personally and for all Libras, because it is a time for me to ask myself, did I get this far just to have to totally abort my whole plan for myself and move in a different direction, which would not take me where I want to go? And so it's time to follow my heart, to trust it. And doing so, I connect with spirit in every moment. Thank you for giving me signs and omens to support what I believe about myself, that I'm not crazy. And sometimes I feel crazy. Okay. Oh, how funny, small wildflowers. All right, let's go on to our Virgos. I'm going to try to be a little bit more, move this story forward a little bit so the videos aren't so long. Hi, Brianna, good to see you. Okay. Hi, Tammy. Amen on the videos being too long. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Virgo. Oh, Brianna, you're very sweet. A lot of people complain about, not a lot, but at least once a week. You talk too much. Yeah, it's been well documented. I wish I had my grammar school report cards. Okay, Virgo, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Astera is in the foundational position. Bethany is in the opportunity and or obstacle. Grace and Antoinette is in the angel's advice. And there's Mystique. My goodness. Could we not have more synchronicity within the signs? You know, it's funny because we look at this zodiac, we break it down into 12 pies, and we say, I'm this, I'm that, blah, 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 blah. And yet we're all hues. We're all a little bit of each color of that pie. And so when I see the cards coming out and there's so much synergy with each sign, it just says to me there's so much more connection than we realize. Thank you, Darcy. Okay, here we go. Astera is going to be joined by the Novice. Bethany is being joined by the Protection card. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Focus card. And Mystique is being joined by the Hawk. Okay, so for my Virgos, the Novice talks about skill without practice. It talks about new beginnings. It talks about curiosity. And then we have Astera saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and your desires. When I look at this, I feel like the first thing I thought was that Virgo is a novice at reaching for the stars with their dreams and their desires, meaning, again, you're ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules everyday events. Sixth house, very practical, very dependable, to me, very earthy, even though it's an air, Virgo's an earth sign, but it's ruled by Mercury, which is air. So, gosh, I don't know what's with my words today, because I feel like Virgo it's a new beginning for you to actually reach for the stars. And this to me is unstable new beginnings in reaching for dreams rather than practicality, rather than material practicality to see something. Because, and I'm going to go to the final position, is Mystique telling you to charge ahead. And then the Hawk for me is about signs and omens today. This isn't about rising above my fears. I think that there are signs and omens that Spirit will give you, Virgo, if you're paying attention, because Mystique is about process, coming out of the dark and into the light. And this is a time when your connection to Spirit can become even more tangible, more material for you, because Spirit wants you to know that you're being protected, that you're as you take care of yourself by giving yourself permission to dream at a time when dreams are feeling very sketchy. And in doing so, having compassion for yourself as you focus. This is interesting, because there's a dynamic here where, and I'm really kind of hitting that Mercury thing with Virgo today. It's like this. Okay, so we talked about the retrogrades. Jupiter being the teacher, Saturn being a karmic thing right now. We're just going into these little hues, okay? I'm drawing these particular elements out of those planets, and then Venus is money. So what can you learn from Spirit about karmically? You've agreed to learn about your value now. And it's about practicing a higher vibration of your value. It's about knowing that if I just continue to move ahead, and in some ways, I almost want to move ahead with a little bit more razor focus, meaning pushing out the boogeyman thoughts, pushing out those practical thoughts, and, knowing the rent is due. And yet, it's kind of like I know it seems impossible, but it's like looking at that fear or whatever it is and say, what do you really want me to know about you? What do you really want me to know? Because I have agreed to look at you right now, fear, karma, Saturn retrograde. And I've agreed to learn something about my value. And my value is more than I realize. And in some ways, maybe Virgo will realize that you've been focusing in a way that didn't serve you. And it's time to have compassion as the light bulb goes on. Wow. I always thought I had to have a job to make money. And then I don't have a job anymore. And somehow spirit is making sure I still have plenty of money. That's kind of where I'm going with this. Okay. All right. On to our Leos. Okay. 3 is a loose stellium, and 4 is that's a more strict stellium, 4 or more planets. So, okay, thank you, Sensory. Hi, Josie, good to see you. I almost wore the bracelet this week, but I decided to wear a different one. I wore this one instead. Okay, here we go. For our Leos. All right. Our first angel is Serena. The second is Athena. The third is Bridget. And the final is Chantal. Well, there's something new there. Welcome, Christine. Welcome, Amy. T. Brennan. I didn't say that right. T. Brennanman. There we go. All right. Leo, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Your Serena's being joined by the dragon. Athena is being joined by Merlin. Bridget's being joined by the perception card. And Shanti's being joined by the bee. Okay, so we're just a little bit repetitive here. We're talking about Venus representing our money and our self-worth, because our money to me represents our self-worth. So here we have Serena and the dragon, Leo, and she's so calm. She's receiving. I feel like I want to go here, because to me, Serena talks about money coming in. God's in charge of how that will happen. But I think this is even a deeper level of receiving. I feel like when I go into the final position and I see Shanti and the bee, Shanti represents peace. And whatever is disrupting that peace has to move out in order for me to feel it. And then there's the bee. I think that the potential is that Leo gets to be a little more serene about their material resources. So we're going to start, Venus is going to go retrograde in a couple of days. It's on the 13th. I took a note this time so I don't make a mistake. And I feel like going through this challenging time when everybody's restructuring how they make their resources and their jobs are, even people who are working might feel a little teeter-tottering, because to me, this is about your being energy and about being serene during this time. And this is where your power will come from. And this is where Merlin becomes, again, another karmic card for me, because Merlin represents alchemy, justice, and balance. Very similar to the king in some respects, but with a magical element. And that magical element is the alchemy part, taking something that is not very valuable and turning it into something valuable. The coal that goes into the pressurized system in order to become a diamond. So that's where I'm going with this for my Leos. Your power lies in your ability to be serene and believe in magical things, because it's about perception. Okay, this is the angel's advice. Look deeper into your perception of your own power and your your strength, but from a magical place. And in doing so, you'll find your peace comes from your being energy. So as we surrender, if you think about people who make a lot of money, they don't worry about money. They think money comes to me easily, it comes to me often. So as you focus in on that, that's where you'll start to see your being energy is the very platform with which your manifestation starts. So Sodi, BRN, this is not about astrology. It's about angelic advice for the transits, for the astrological transits. So what we're talking about is Jupiter's going retrograde this week. Saturn's going retrograde. Venus is going retrograde. Pluto is already retrograde. So what we're doing here is we are getting the angels' advice for maneuvering, for how can they help us walk through these transits. I am not an astrologer, and I never said I was an astrologer. But this is about astrology because we are all walking through this. These planetary activity is the weather with which we are walking. So that's where I'm going. All right, let's go on to our Cancers. Everything is synchronistic, really, there is really no division. It's all sort of a one thing affects another. It's a butterfly effect. So, and I feel like I'm kind of glad that that person said that about this is not astrology, because on some level they're right. It's not about teaching you astrology. It's not about informing you. It's an advisory thing. So that's where we're going. I agree, Darcy. Okay. Oops. Let's go on to our Cancers. Rising Sun, Moon, and Stelliums. Hello, Judy. Welcome. Okay. Our first angel for Cancer is Mystique. The second is Adriana. The third is Shanti. And the final is Xana. Mystique is being joined by the Bee. Adriana is being joined by the Burden card. Shanti is being joined by the Water Fairy. And Xana is being joined by the Raven. Okay. Pardon me. So, Mystique says to keep charging ahead, to expect miraculous solutions. Miracles are alignment with source energy. Miracles are a belief without doubt. There's no wobble in your energy, and that's what the Bee is about. So for my Cancers, I want to say to keep charging ahead and to watch your own energy, your own being energy. What do you believe about a situation as you step into it? I've been feeling for my Cancers lately that there's been sort of this melancholy attached to my Cancers, and it feels like it has to do with relationships, family, home, hearth. And when I look at this, it could very well be that you are not able to see some of your loved ones that you're being, during this time of reflection. You're not able to physically connect with them because there's a very strong emotional feel to this for me. In the opportunity or the obstacle is the Burden card and Adriana saying that she's leading you to the answers to your prayers, to your dreams and your thoughts and your intuitions. And I feel like that you may be just feeling a little bit low. So it's hard for you to actually be able to connect to Adriana's energy. That's where this Burden card comes in. And then when I go into the angel's advice, I see very much my emotions are disrupting my peace. I feel like I can't help but think of Cancer, fourth house, motherhood, nesting babies, all that kind of stuff. And I just feel like there was a little bit of challenge with Cancer earlier on in this year and familiar relationships. And in doing so, this situation may have exacerbated that. But what I want you to know is that you're being protected, and that in many ways there's magic being had by this time. This is a timing card, the Raven. It's about synchronistic events. It's about timing. It's about magic. And so I kind of want to put it this way. I feel like on the backside of all of this, things are going to be much better for Cancer than it would appear right now. And as a result, I think that it's really important for Cancers to take care of themselves and watch their being energy. What is your belief about a situation? Because if you're feeling a little low and you're feeling almost like you're not being led, not being watched over, that somehow I kind of get this feeling like Cancers might feel like they're all by themselves. And that's just, I don't know, I get that sense of melancholy. So I want you to know that you're being protected. And I feel like I want to say that on the backside of this, that there may be people who actually love you and appreciate you and let you know more that dynamic as a result of this deprivation, because it's a timing issue. So I guess it's kind of keep your head up here. I want to put it this way. The bee energy and mystique here, Nikki, when you ask about not sure of the timing of it, oftentimes when we assess a situation, we don't have the view that Spirit has. And sometimes we know that, or Spirit will know that if she got that thing that she thinks she wants now, she wouldn't get the thing that she wants more over here. So I think that that's part of what this recalibration is. As an example, a lot of people will say, God, I wish I could just stay home and do nothing all day. You have a job, you just want to lay in bed all day. How many of us actually ever give ourselves permission to do that when things are normal? So here we have this challenging time when everything's sort of topsy-turvy. And I think that this is really about giving yourself permission to do the things that you always wanted to do or be. All right, let's go on to our Geminis. Okay, here we go. All right, Gemini, our first angel is Daniel. The second is Merlina. The third is Fiona. And the final is Chantal. Well, this looks like romance. Woohoo! All right, here we go. Daniel is being joined by the Wealth card. Merlina is being joined by the Trust card. Fiona is being joined by the Focus card, pardon me. And Chantal's being joined by the Cat. Wow. Okay. So, Daniel is the angel of marriage. He talks about bringing a partner to you, and there's the Wealth card. So, I really do think that this has something to do with partnership. And I want to say it this way, because even though there is a restriction kind of around, it does not preclude people from connecting. It doesn't keep people from getting to know each other. Because here in the opportunity obstacle is Merlina, the card of confusion. I need to do more research. And there's the Trust card. Fiona is saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for, be open to receiving their guidance. And there's the Focus card. And then I have Chantal, the angel of romance, saying that either a new romance is coming or the resurgence of an existing romance. And then there's the Cat. And I want to say this is 9 lives to me. So, Gemini, here we talked about this these retrogrades, okay? We talked about Saturn representing karma today. We talked about Jupiter representing teaching, and we talked about Venus representing our self-worth, aka money. So what I think I'm seeing here is there's an opportunity for you to actually observe your partnerships from a place of abundance. Daniel oftentimes will ask me to look and see if what's my history? Am I bringing my history, my old sad story into the new situation? That's the opportunity is here for Gemini to kind of get control over your mind in some ways, because this is where you don't have any information. So you have to go to a bigger story. The bigger story is back over here. Well, what have I been experiencing? What have I been experiencing? Let's put it this way. Gemini, there's a relationship being offered. And I want to put it this way. There's plenty of single Geminis out there. It doesn't mean that there isn't a potential for love coming. For you to see 9 lives, for you to see where has your focus been, Gemini? Has it been on the I don't win side? Has it been on the, oh no, I have to trust a bigger picture that I've never seen? Because Fiona is telling you God is going to make this connection. So let's look at it this way. We have a lot of shifting. The nodes shifted as well. So there's a new dynamic as a result of that. And what if for Gemini, there is something about the journey that Spirit is taking you on a journey, and your job is to believe that that journey is working for you, not against you. That's where the trust comes in. Your job is to say, where's my focus? Oh, my focus is on, I've done everything I can do to prepare to be ready for a relationship. Now my job is to invite in that partner who's done their work, because that's oftentimes what we don't think about. We think, I've done all my work. Now's the time. I'm ready. Let's move it forward now. But if we want to have a wonderful, loving, healthy relationship, the other person gets to do their part as well. So that's part of what I want to say for Gemini. Maybe there's more that you haven't seen. Maybe somebody's just unraveling a relationship or unraveling a hurt. And as a result of what they learned from Jupiter, that now is the time that they meet you, and that relationship will be even better because of the appreciation level they have for your energy in the situation. Okay, that's where I'm going. That felt like love. So, and I want to put it this way, just round up. Even if you can't see somebody, even if you're not in their physical location, it doesn't mean that you cannot develop a getting to know you process that fosters feelings that then turn into love. I have a client who was living in California and met somebody in another state, and they did Skype dates. And I encouraged him to do Skype dates. And now people are talking about it on TV. You can watch a movie with your friends. And we can do things like this we never could before. So love can blossom in all sorts of places. You just have to believe. Okay. All right. Oh my goodness, Shelley, did you just mention a raccoon? That's so weird. Right before I was doing the broadcast or start the broadcast, I saw on my Nextdoor app that somebody is having an issue with raccoons. And then the other night, about 11 o'clock, I looked out the window and I saw a raccoon waddling across the street into the hotel. We might have to look up raccoon and see what raccoon means, because that's a totem. I'll have to look and see. Maybe at the end of the broadcast, if you guys want me to, I will in the book. Okay, because remember last week, Fox was saying to capitalize on your talents. All right, we're going on to Taurus. Oh no, it tried to come into your house, Shelley? If you have any kind of dog food or cat food sitting out, they'll eat that stuff. So you want to pick up any leftovers. Okay. Taurus, our first angel is Bridget. The second is Merlina. The third is Maya. And the final is Crystal. Stephen. Okay. Taurus, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Okay. Joining Bridget is the letting go card. Joining Merlina is the goblin. Joining Maya is the earth fairy. And joining Crystal is the wealth card. Okay. All right. So you guys who have watched me for a while know that the letting go card is not about letting anything go. It's about writing your own story. It's the song Let It Go from Frozen. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits, to break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. And there's Bridget, asking you to look deeper into, where are you allowing yourself to be free? Where are you allowing yourself to be who you want to be? Look deeper into your fears. Are they in play right now, or is there some sort of projection? Because having the goblin and Merlina in the opportunity and or the obstacle is really not. It's not in the material world. They're asking you to look at, where is your ego telling you a sad story, because you don't have enough information. And I want to offer it this way, because Maya is offering you some schooling and education, and there's the earth fairy, which is very Taurus for me. It's very about building a new foundation. It's also about physical health. So let's go back to the idea of, we have a Jupiter retrograde this week, Venus and Saturn. So where have you been karmically restricting yourself from doing what it is you want to do? Look deeper into it. Are you really operating from what is authentic to you, Taurus? Because right now, it's time to look deeper. Maybe, the ego is not always going to tell you you're rotten, but it may tell you don't have enough money and you can't do something because you don't have enough money. So in some ways, is that really true? Because I think that Maya wants to teach you something about the foundation with which you create. Because in the final position is Crystal and the wealth card. So Crystal says, have faith and hope, because there's something more on the horizon that you can't see. And the wealth card is about harmonious wealth. It's not about physical money for me. It's about feeling like I'm thriving. So even if I only have $5, I feel rich. So here we have Jupiter offering us something to learn. Learn about looking deeper into what it is I want. And where is my ego telling me I can't do something, but I haven't done enough research to know for sure. So maybe it's time to do that research and to start to build a new foundation with which I take my steps. And then here we have my faith paid off. My faith in myself, in some ways, Taurus, going your own direction, will pay off in big ways, because it's also going to set a platform for all your movements here on out. And I want to say it this way, because when you're reflecting, we could try to reflect on moving forward from an old dynamic, but that old dynamic is being changed. And so this is where I go to Saturn. Karmically, I've agreed to be here in this time. My Taurus moon has agreed to be here to walk through this time in history. And how am I going to use these dynamics to my favor? Am I willing to look at where I get in my own way? Then I can learn something from Jupiter and karmically clean something up with Saturn, which will pay off and reward you. And then Venus will give me a stronger sense of self-worth, which will then bring me more money and more material resources. Okay, on to our final sign, Aries. Oh, Shelley, did you look up raccoon? A generous protector. I like that. All right, here we go. Final, Aries. Rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Patty, if you haven't been here before, I go backwards. So I already did Aquarius. It was the second sign. I start at Pisces and move forward. I have Uranus in the 5th house of Leo. I have to do things a little different. Okay, here we go. Final sign, Aries. Maya is our first angel. Xana is our second. Our third is Archangel Gabriel. And the final is Archangel Raphael. All right, here we go. Maya is being joined by the Queen. Xana is being joined by the Perception card. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the High Priestess. And Archangel Raphael is being joined by the Mystery card. Okay. So Maya represents schooling and education. And the Queen represents feminine energy. But for me, she represents receptive energy, receiving. Okay. And this is what I want to say. What is Aries? Aries is Mars. Mars is action. Go, 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 go. So what do we want to do? We're going to learn to receive. That's what I think this is. This is the law of allowing. We all of us have heard about the law of attraction. But the B part of that is the law of allowing. We can attract something in, but do we have the sense of self to receive it? Because what I think for Aries is that there is a dynamic right now where Saturn is kind of squishing you. You know, we know that the world is gone into a quiet place right now. So those of us that are Aries that want to move our stories forward, we're not being able to do that in the same way. And so I think what's happening is we're getting an opportunity here to learn how we receive from spirit, regardless of what's happening in the material world, to know that we're being protected. And part of our job is to look at our perceptions. What are we perceiving? That is a question I've asked myself a lot over this last, almost 2 months now. Am I going to suddenly allow myself to believe a bad story? Or am I going to turn over my insecurities and trust the bigger vision of what I want for my life? Say this too, because the High Priestess is an intuitive card, and this is the connection to spirit. And this is, when I say connection, this is Archangel Gabriel asking you to give your insecurities to her because you have an important life purpose. So that's what you have to know. This is Aries, is you're being protected. You're the truth seeker. That's why you're so strong. That's why you have this clear sight, because you're the truth seeker. And here is Archangel Raphael. You're a healer. So now it's about choice. That's what the mystery is. So what I'm seeing for Aries is I get to choose to believe that I am valuable in what I produce, Aries, and I'm learning how to receive when I am not taking action. I hope that makes sense, because it's the be, do, have. So our being energy, what do I believe? What is my disposition? What is my attitude about my movement forward? So I believe that I'm being protected and that I receive as I align to a bigger dynamic of what's going on here. Because there's a tendency for the human to go to the dark side of everything, to go where we are fearful. And as a result of that, we will then start to tell ourselves a story. How do I get out of this fearful place? And it's, in some ways, Aries, your job is to realize maybe you're not in that fearful place. Maybe you're being protected because you're part of the balance. And again, I think of this Sunday tribe as like a lighthouse. And as we gather, our light becomes brighter and brighter, and spirit knows it. So in some ways, spirit will support each and every one of us in our own way so that we can be that light in our own little worlds, so that we can help heal and reconcile the experiences that we go through here on this planet. Okay. So that's it pretty much for today. I'm not going to do the show on Wednesday, guys. I meant to mention that. I don't really have a previous engagement, but I do have a potential client meeting that I very much want to take. So I'm gonna stop the Wednesday thing and just focus here on Sundays from now on. And maybe we'll do a webinar or something to play with our intuitions more in the future. So that's going to be it for today. Let me do a quick look at what, let me pull my book and do that raccoon real quick and see, since that's coming up. There's probably something significant. Well, we'll see how it goes. I was just thinking maybe it was too much, to be honest with you. Thinking I was maybe saturating you all too much. Okay, let me see about the book. Hold on. A little stiff self. Okay, let's see if raccoon is in here. I'm pretty sure it is. Raccoon. Ooh. It says also look at bear. 304 to 306. Let's just look at the keywords. Okay, raccoon. The keynote here is dexterity and disguise. The cycle of power is spring and summer. They're nocturnal animals. Okay. Well, this is quite a bit here. Raccoons are fascinated by water. They'll eat anything. They're extremely curious. They wear a mask. Ooh, that's interesting. The mask. Maybe there's something about those that are experiencing raccoon. Is there a mask around you, or are you wearing a mask in some way? And this is an opportunity to be stand in your higher truth, your higher power. I might have to read. This is like 4 pages, so this is a little bit more than I expected. But real quickly, raccoons hold knowledge of transformation through masks and disguise. Raccoons do not hibernate, but they do go into a heavy sleep during the winter, living off their body fat like bears. Raccoons are courageous and can be quite ferocious. Raccoons enjoy hollow logs for their dens. If raccoon has showed up, you may see its influence for an extended time. If you are trying to make changes or endeavoring to hide changes you are making from others until you are in a better position, plan on using about a 20-week cycle. You will find it more effective for longer and greater life transformations, such as when raccoon shows up, you may want to make plans, long-term plans. So that seems pretty cool to me, in the respect of maybe raccoon is trying to tell us all to see where we're masking ourselves, where we're disguising our truth, and then allowing that truth to surface so that we can go into this and own this transformation. So thank you, Shelley, for bringing up about the raccoon. I think that was really poignant, actually. So be mindful of the animals that you guys see this week. When you see them, and if you see them 3 times or more, pay attention to their dynamics. Pay attention to their habitat, to their natural cycles. Are they day animals or night animals? Just the varying things there. Okay, so that's it for this week. I tried to keep this short, and again, it's not, but I did my best. So I will see you next Sunday. I hope everybody has a wonderful Mother's Day, whether you're here in the United States or not, celebrating all of you feminine energies, and sending lots of love to all the moms, to little fur babies too. Okay, have a great week, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.